Yo, what's up guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the new 7 stars that were leaked for All-Star Tower Defense, as well as ranking and showcasing every single 7 star in the game to find out which one is the best and which ones you should spend your gems on. Alright, here we go guys. Let's first show you, we'll show you guys the new leaks for the 7 stars at the end of the video. Let's get to ranking. Alright, here we go. Also, don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 500k for our next code units. And also, don't forget to use star code BLAM whenever buying Robux or Premium. Alright, let's go start ranking these 7 stars. Here we go. Alright, here we go, guys. Let's get it started. First up, we have one of the newer units, guys. We have our boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Goku and Vegeta. So, let's just go show off what he does. Now, he's actually not that bad for raid modes. I mean, you can kind of use him, sort of. But that's not really his specialty. His specialty is this right here. Two things, actually. First off, he's hybrid, alright? So basically that makes him compete with Mob. Also, he has a pretty giant nuke as well. Alright, they did finally fix it, so now it's doing 10 billion damage instead of 5 billion. Also, if you don't know, the nuke actually does have an element, so you can be doing 30 billion damage per hit with just this nuke, which is completely insane. So for that reason, guys, 30 billion damage nuke, completely OP. Actually not the best damage farm in the game though. He's actually the second best, but he is like the best within reason. So all of that considered, we're going to be putting the Goku into the A tier. All right, very good unit, but most likely not meta. All right, next up we have probably, I would say, one of the most disrespected 7 stars in the game. We have Zorro. Now, I just did a video on one of the secret units that actually I think is now 100% better than Zorro. Like this guy, oh my gosh, his only saving grace is he's the best bleed unit that actually does also hit airs as well, which is pretty sweet. But overall, that's actually kind of mid though. He also does have a placement, which is kind of nice, but he sucks for raid modes because they just made his early upgrades suck. Like, look at this. And yeah, overall, just not that great of a unit. But hey, if you need an air bleed unit, he's your only option. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to put him into the, I mean, his DPS is higher than most of the other 7 stars, but unfortunately, I don't know, man. I'm probably just gonna put him in the C tier because I just think nobody should waste their gems or their Stardust on him when there's just better bleed units out there. All right, next up we have probably another one of the most goated units, guys. We have Boo Kid. Now this guy is goated for multiple reasons. First off, he does have this really nice AoE, guys. That's super cheap, only 25k sell price. That means 50k normal price. And look at that, full AoE, 8 SPA, 800,000 DPS. So pretty sick. Also time stop as well, and he's also the best time stop in the game. So basically what that means is you literally have to bring him for infinite mode if you want to reach the leaderboards. Also, guys, he has sleep as well, which gives you 5 billion base HP, which makes him meta as well for lots of raids. So for that reason alone, it's hard to not put him in the S tier, guys. He might be the best 7 star in the game. Like, he is that good. All right, let's go take a look at our next unit, guys. We have the first slow unit on this list. Now this guy, he's kind of hard to rank. He is good, but he's only good for modes where there's air units. And he's also, honestly, guys, if you don't know, he's actually not bad as well for raid mode, like his damage, etc. So he's actually not bad. Also, he's a dark unit, so you can stack him with Astd to do pretty insane damage, as well as slow the units at the same time. So he's actually a really underrated unit. So for that reason, and the fact that he's like one of the only units that slows airs, that's actually worth it considering how Ichigo sucks. All right, we're gonna have to put him in the S tier. All right, very good unit, guys, highly recommended. All right, next up we have Boros. Now I'm just gonna be placing Boros and Kirito at the same time since they came in the same updates. So here we go. Let's go max these guys out. Now Boros is so expensive to max, and then we have Kirito, also very expensive as well. But the nice thing about Kirito that gives him, in my opinion, a slight edge over Boros. What am I saying? Is this right here, guys? He has some very OP damage for raids. So he's meta for pretty much any raid with the water element. And he does have these upgrades as well, and that makes him pretty good for infinite mode. Also, I know it doesn't look like his damage is that high, but he does have crits, which increases DPS by a lot, making him and Boros, oh my gosh, why do I keep getting confused? Very similar in DPS, but I'm gonna give Kirito a slight edge because Kirito has that like edge in raid mode. So I'm gonna put them both in the S tier, but not like super high in the S tier. But if you're doing any maps with airs, these are like the best air units in the game. So very, very good units. All right, highly recommended. All right, let's go check out the next set. All right, next up we have another unit with probably one of the biggest claims to being the best 7-star in the game. We have Guts. All right, now Guts is a very, very special unit for 2 reasons. One, he has the highest DPS in the game. All right, not counting abilities. And 2, he has a really good combo with Griffith 6-star, making him pretty OP. And here's his stats with no buff. Pretty dang good, guys. And of course, guys, he's full AoE. However, there is a few things that, you know, kind of are pretty big negatives for Guts. First up, you're going to see he only hits ground enemies. That's a pretty big negative. Also, if we take a look at his upgrades, you're going to notice that he's not really that recommended for story mode. I mean, he's passable, but like, is he meta? I don't know, man. It's a tough call. I guess maybe you could use him in story mode, but you can only place one of him, so it's a little shaky. It's good, but he's not the best story mode unit. All right, so we'll put it that way. For this reason, I'm gonna say still a very, very good unit, Guts. I'm gonna be honest, I'd probably put him, I don't know, it's close, man. He just has more DPS than Kirito, but I definitely have to put Boo over because Boo is just way more meta. All right, next up we have another unit that has a claim for being the best unit in the game. We have Sid. Now Sid also has a few Achilles heels. All right, however, he does have a lot of things that make him OP, like his normal stats for raid mode and story mode are insane. Like, he even gets a nuke ability that you can afford in most modes. All right, and then look at this, his max stats, guys. He is the highest damage bleed unit in the game. However, you're gonna notice he does not hit air enemies, and if you're gonna notice, his AoE kind of sucks. However, that SBA is very spicy, so kind of nice. So he has another one of the highest DPSs in the game. All right, and of course, when I'm talking about DPS, guys, don't worry, I always factor in the number of placements of the unit. So I always factor that in, as well as cost, etc. So overall, I think Guts is very, very good unit. I'm gonna be honest, it's close. Now, personally, if I'm doing infinite mode, they're both great picks. But the thing about Guts is he is full AoE, but I'm gonna have to give Sid a slight edge because he does have that nuke ability, which does 6.5 billion damage, which is just crazy OP. If you guys want to get damage for him, etc. And also basically instant clears a wave in gauntlet mode, instant clears a wave in infinite mode. It's just a really good ability. All right, next up we have Gohan. Oh my gosh, guys, Gohan. Okay, first up, there ain't no way you're using this guy in story mode. Take a look. Ain't no way. Too expensive for the damage. So impossible for raids and story. All right, he's gonna get like decent DPS. He ends around 500,000 with no buff at max level, so not bad. But like overall, and he does hit airs. But the thing is, like, he's just not better than Kirito, you know? He's just not. So like, I can't really recommend spending your gems on him. I gotta put him in the C tier. Like, why use him? Use Kirito. Kirito's better for literally like everything. So I just can't recommend him, guys. Sorry, Gohan. I hate to disrespect you like that, but you're gonna need a buff or something. All right, next up we have Tanjiro. Now Tanjiro is also a very nice unit. Now, oh wait, I forgot to mention one more thing about Sid. So the other nice thing about Sid is he buffs your money. So if you put him in your leader slot, not only is it a good idea because his DPS is already insane, but it's a good idea because he gives you 20% more money from your money units. And that's the same thing with Tanjiro. Now Tanjiro is also a pretty good unit. He does have multi-placement unlike Sid. And he starts off with full AoE with Sunburn, which is really good. And another nice thing about him is he has that Sunburn, and he's really good for raid modes, just straight up. Also, he has some pretty good DPS as well. And another nice thing about him is he does also hit those air units. Now, the only problem with him is his total DPS overall kind of sucks. All right, let's just say he's no Sid, he's no Guts. But the one benefit with him is he is a good Sunburn unit, and he's very, very good for raid modes. Now, I'm going to be honest, Sunburn units are a dime a dozen. I hate to put some disrespect on this guy, but I'm gonna have to drop him in the A tier. Like, he's all right, but there's full AoE sunburn units now, and those might be a little bit easier to use for leaderboard runs, etc. So I just don't think you have to spend Stardust on this guy. There's like other units that you might as well just save your Stardust, you know? All right, next up we have this guy. Oh my gosh, True Evil. This guy had so much potential. Now, first up, he's not actually that bad of a unit. If we take a look at his stats, like, I'm not gonna lie, he's put it in some work. Like, his damage, like 1 million damage for 70k, all right. Now, this upgrade kind of sucks, but you do get, if you notice, you get that decay before his max upgrade. Now, the problem with decay is it only works on like enemies that are really slow. It does like a small percentage of their HP, which isn't bad. But I don't think it counts towards your damage either or something. It's kind of weird. But he's only really useful for raid modes until somebody figures out how to use decay in infinite mode. So for that reason, I'm gonna probably put him in, I don't know, I feel like he does have a little bit more potential than Gohan, just because you can kind of use him in raids, because he's the dark element, so you can combo him with Astd. But overall, kind of a mid unit. All right, next up we have Deku. Now, the nice thing about Deku is he literally does every single thing you want. Like, take a look. Like, you can have him do just normal stuff. You can have him be a stun unit. The only thing he doesn't do is time stop, because stun doesn't count. He can be with slow units. He can be your buff units with QI Fox. He can hit airs. He can do everything. Also, his DPS isn't terrible. It's not meta, but it's not terrible. Like, you can see that's like 333,000 DPS. Plus, he's also buff unit at the same time. But the only problem with him is if you take a look at his buff, like, okay, look at this buff, guys. It's a 200% buff. So you're sacrificing 50% buff thingy. So that kind of sucks. So for that reason, I can't really recommend Deku. Plus, I mean, he's a free unit though, so like it is what it is. So I'm gonna put him slightly above these guys, just because he does have a lot of cool abilities. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair. All right, next up we have the new unit in this update. We got of course, guys, 7-star Luffy. This guy is cracked out. Oh my gosh, look at this. His stats for just like story mode, raid mode, insane. 10 for 6, like, and not even that expensive. It's crazy. Now he does have a few problems. His main problem is just straight up DPS is kind of mid. All right, 5 million DPS. Now it is better than a lot of units. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure it's better than Gohan. Now also, if we take a look at this dumb unit right here, oh my gosh, look at this, guys. This is a crime. Look at this. Look at this. What? Like, what? Like, why would you ever bring Ichigo, man? Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. And he does have two cool abilities. Fifth form gun. It does 25% damage to any enemy on the map. All right, so if we just spawn an enemy here, all right, you're gonna see you do it. It's full map, guys. You see 25%. Was that 20? Yeah, 25%. And then liberation, if you're about to die, it'll revive you and then also teleport the enemies backwards. It won't actually do any damage to the enemies. It just teleports them backwards, basically giving you a few extra seconds to live. Or if you're in infinite mode, maybe a couple extra waves. So overall, really, really good, guys. And he has some unique abilities. So he kind of, no matter what, goes in the S tier. Now, as far as how good he is compared to other units, he actually is the best damage farm unit in the game. So I have to give him some credit for that. And I will say he's probably as meta for raids as Sid. But he does have less DPS, but he does also hit airs. So for that reason, he's really good, guys. I don't know, man. For right now, it's between Boo and Luffy. Like, if you pick either one, I wouldn't blame you. Like, they're both really, really good 7 stars. All right, next up. Okay, I already kind of teased this guy. So we'll just place this guy down, you know, get the misery over with. Oh my gosh. Ichigo, guys. I don't even want to talk about it. First up, what the heck is this? You literally just can't use him in raid mode. His first upgrade costs $1 million. And then his DPS overall is just so bad, guys. Please don't waste your money on Ichigo. Now, you can awaken him, which makes him hit only air units and increases his stats a little bit, but still. Just please, guys, do not waste your Stardust on him. If you get him by accident, that's cool. Just overall, guys, he just sucks, man. Oh my gosh. I just can't, man. I just can't. I'm just gonna put him in the D tier, guys. I know that might be disrespect, but like, I'm sorry. This guy needs a big buff. He needs a massive, massive, massive buff. He's just so mid. All right, next up we have Aizen. Now, Aizen also is very nice because, again, he has the dark element, so he's a good combo with Asta for raids. And his damage is pretty dang good for raids, too. Plus, he's a free unit, guys. All you have to do is grind Gauntlet mode, which isn't that hard. All right, because I showed, yeah, it's really, really easy to do Gauntlet mode. It just takes quite a while to grind. And his total DPS isn't terrible. Yeah, probably similar to, yeah, less than Gohan. It's not the great, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. But the real thing is, first up, guys, he has a Hypnosis Reverse, which is like time rewind, and then Hypnosis Takeover, which is like really good as well. It basically, it makes clones of the enemies, and then it's just pretty OP. So definitely a very, very good ability. I don't know if I can use it. Basically, it clones the enemies, but gives it half the health. So we'll just get these guys spawning in, and then Hypnosis Takeover. All right, you can see, okay, this one has 0. This one is 0. Okay, so sometimes they come out with 0 HP, but it is what it is. Very, very good unit, guys. Easily S tier. Now, he's probably one of the best raid units in the game, but Luffy, honestly, for raids, does pretty dang well, too. So, I don't know where to put him. I'm going to probably put him right about there. Very, very good unit, but I think you might as well go with the other ones. Also, another thing that makes him suck is he does not hit air units. So, keep that in mind as well. All right, next up, we have Meliodas. Now, Meliodas also does buff money. So that's pretty nice about Meliodas. Again, one thing that sucks about him is his DPS sucks, but he does have one of the best abilities in the game. Basically, whenever you use it, all right, it's going to cut the enemy HP down by 60%. So it's very, very good. It's only 10% better than Zamasu, but you also get a good amount of damage, and he's not that expensive either. He costs about almost 2 million to max. And his ability comes back very, very fast, especially if you're on 3x, obviously. So overall, he is a meta unit, but Zamasu is just barely worse, so I'll put him low S tier. All right, next up we have Katakuri. Now Katakuri is just your run-of-the-mill slow unit, guys, with full AoE. His damage is nothing to write home about. He's usable in raids though, which is nice, but again, he doesn't slow air units, which in my opinion makes Griffith a little bit better. Also, Griffith does way more damage than him, but this guy has better like AoE than him, so it's kind of a toss-up. But I would say that my boy Griffith is usable in more modes, so I'm going to put Katakuri slightly below Griffith, even though I hate Griffith in the anime. Oh my gosh, don't get me started about that anime. All right, next up we have another trash unit, guys, Mob. Now, I'm sorry, but Mob is basically a cheaper version, all right? He is cheaper, but just worse, of Goku and Vegeta. You can see his damage is just straight up less. Just straight up less. I believe his AoE is smaller, and his nuke does less damage. Yeah, so the only thing that makes him better is you don't have to charge up his nuke. And yeah, I think that's about it, actually. Well, I do think his nuke is also Holy Element. Ooh, that's actually not too bad. So his Holy Element nuke isn't terrible, but it does do less damage. So depending on what map you're on or what units you want to use, I can guess I can kind of see a little bit with Mob. But yeah, overall, I think I'm going to have to put him slightly worse than Goku, because Goku is better for raids than Mob is, so slightly worse. But honestly, though, I would probably pick, I would probably go like this. I feel like that's fair. All right, let's go check out the next set of units. But before we do, guys, I promised I would show you guys the new 7 stars coming to the game. So first up, take a look at this. So this is confirmed, the new map in All-Star Tower Defense. This is one of the developers. All right, they posted this map. Now, if you guys don't know, that this is actually a Naruto themed map, and this is actually a very specific location in Naruto. All right, so here we go. This is what the Shadows said. The first map is definitely the Rain Village. If you watch Naruto Shippuden, you would know, so maybe Pain 7 star. So, wait, I'm not sure which map he meant. It's one of these 2 maps. So, this might be the Rain Village. Let me check. So this is a picture of the Rain Village. And then we have this right here. Honestly, yeah. I think there's an argument for that. That does kind of look like the Rain Village. So apparently that means Pain is the unit, guys. So Pain 7 star. So make sure you guys have the paths and stuff ready to go. All right, that's pretty exciting. So Nagato's, get like maybe 3 of him, because that's what required for our boy Luffy. All right, now the other 7-star was kind of leaked as well, Poochie. All right, but that kind of goes without saying. So yeah, Poochie 7-star is going to be the other 7-star. And I would probably say like 90% chance of Pain, but it hasn't been 100% confirmed yet. However, we know Pain is coming in a future update. We're just hoping it's this big update. And I think they're saying the second map is another JoJo map for Steel Ball Run. But like, I don't think Steel Ball Run has come out yet, so I'm not sure what this means. That's what this guy said over here. So I'm not sure. All right, let's go rank out the next set of units. All right, here we go. Let's get it started. All right, here we go. Princess Apollo. Let's go. All right, bang. All right, now one thing that makes her good is her touch of grace. So basically, she's a low-budget Rimuru with decent DPS. But the big problem with Princess Apollo is you can't sell her, and you can only place 4. So she's basically only good for Gauntlet mode. And for that reason, she's not bad. So I guess we'll put her in the A tier, because you can use her to get these 2 S tier units. But as far as using her in Infinite mode, etc., I can't really recommend. She's also not terrible in raids. All right, so yeah, not too bad of a unit. Here's our attack effects if you wanted to see them. Looks pretty clean. All right, let's go change the path here. All right, and check out the next set. All right, you got Diavolo. Now, Diavolo's cool because he has this another basically medic for everything unit. He can teleport the enemies all the way back on the map. So he can teleport the enemies, and he also does 25% damage to them. But that's like, that works like Zamasu. So it sets the enemy's HP to 75% or less, depending on if it's already less or not. Now, he's also a bleed unit as well, so his DPS isn't terrible, and he's not that expensive. So he's meta for everything except for raids. So for that reason, definitely going to put him in the S tier. Now, I'd probably say I'd put him right about... He's definitely better than Meliodas. He's better than a lot... Honestly, he's better than a lot of these units. But, I don't know. Actually, maybe not. As far as usefulness, maybe... it's tough here. I don't know. I'd probably get Katakuri first. So, I think that's fair. Alright, next up we have So... What's alright, here we go. We got Cell. Cell sucks, guys. Please just don't waste your time grinding for him until they buff this dude. Look at that DPS. I'll show his effects, man, but please, guys, just don't get this guy. I don't want to send all this negative energy into the world, but please don't. Please don't. Worst 7-star in the game. All right, now that we got that out the way, let's brighten the mood a little bit. We got our boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Broly. Now, Broly is a little bit older of a 7-star, so he's a little bit cheaper than a lot of them. But look at the stats. You know what? Not too bad, but not too good either. However, he is full AoE and hits airs, which is very nice. But he sucks for raid mode. So overall, I wouldn't say he's a bad unit per se. I'd probably... he's up there with Gohan, I'd say. Yeah, I don't really like them that much. But yeah, I don't know. Tamura, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I can rate Tamura that high. Yeah, I think we might want to readjust this a little bit. Honestly, Zorro is probably best out of those. I think this is fair. There we go. Let's just readjust this a little bit. Okay, I think this is gonna be a little bit more fair for the rankings. All right, next up we have our boy Vegeta. All right, Vegeta. Yeah, basically the same as Broly, but he is a little bit nicer in the fact that if you take a look at his stats, he has some decent stats for raids. So if you're doing like Sijin raid, this guy's really good for that. Like, look at those stats. So for that reason alone, I think he deserves a better placement than Broly. All right, next up we have another legend, guys. We have Metal Cooler. All right, now Saika is basically as good as Metal Cooler nowadays, so Metal Cooler kind of lost a little bit of hype. But basically what he does is he spawns clones on the map, 1 for each path, and they can hit each other on different paths, so which is pretty cool. But very, very powerful for defeating bosses, but not as good as Aizen for beating bosses. So for that reason, A tier. Probably the best of the A tier units. I would honestly, you know what? I'd probably still put him in S tier. I'd probably just say like slightly worse than Aizen. Very, very good unit for raids, guys. And basically soloing almost anything except for Infinite mode. All right, next up we have these 3 units right here, guys, from the Naruto Star Pass. So let me go switch out into those. All right, here we go. We're gonna go speed run these. First up, we have Naruto. All right, Naruto sucks, guys. I'm sorry, but yeah, we can just see by his DPS, not good for Infinite mode. However, he's okay for raid mode, but definitely still not meta. For that reason, I can't really rank him that highly. All right, next up we have a Kurama. Now Kurama, I'm sorry, Kurama's just outclassed. Look at that DPS, 17.7 for 6. I'm sorry. Considering how pricey those upgrades were, not worth it. However, and also the AoE size is so small. Like, you can run around the map, but it's just not worth it, guys. For such a cool unit, they really need to buff this guy for real. Though, I guess he is unobtainable now, so I guess it makes sense that they can't really buff him, but it's kind of sad that such a cool unit was, like, barely meta. Alright, then we got Sasuke. Now, Sasuke is really cool because he's the only Black Flames unit that also hits airs. So, for that reason, if you're doing air leaderboards or, like, anything air-related, infinite mode-wise, or honestly, maybe even any infinite mode with air units at all, he's not a bad bet. 3.2 million Black Flames. Hey, why not, guys? So I definitely think he's the best out of those three. This guy is trash. All right, probably better than Cell still. All right, Sasuke, A tier. Naruto, C tier. It's close though. Honestly, I think he might be more redeemable than Ichigo. So there you go, guys. There is the 7-star tier list. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Help us reach 500K and peace.